Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. I'm taking a little bit different approach here today. The Iceland Ocean Cluster is a private cluster which has invested in small startups and is mainly focused on seafood within the ocean sector. What we've been doing there is first and foremost to find ways to connect people from different parts of the ocean sector, mainly of course in seafood, but trying to widen the spectrum. We've seen seafood in many countries sort of being on the downward shift, where people don't believe in the industry anymore. We have strong faith in the industry, and I'll show you why. We call it, can we create more value in seafood through clustering? I hope most of you know where Iceland is on the map. Actually, my friend Alexander showed it just in his speech, but it's actually in the North Atlantic, in the cold oceans, close to Greenland and Norway. And I don't want to tell you how many we are, because it's like, we're 350,000, so I've said it now, but we've felt it's enough. But I know there are larger countries, but I think you can learn, hopefully, something from our work in Iceland in fisheries. So first and foremost, what has happened in fisheries, just to give you a glimpse, is that we are seeing amazing automation of whitefish and fish in general. This means that even we have bone detection and removal technology, so people are not anymore really doing in these most developed fishing countries. There is no more work to be done in processing. It's all done by technology. Just to show you an example of that, in 2014 we did 82 kilos of whitefish per man-hour. In 2017 we're up to 190 kilos per man-hour. This is just to show us basically how drastic the changes are in fisheries. This means basically that fewer and fewer people are going to be working in fisheries and fish processing. The question is there something else? That's what we want to emphasize and we believe in. The efficiency gain is 130% in these few years. But I will tell you also what we can do, and that there lies the opportunity for a stronger industry and for a stronger harbors as well, is to use more of the fish. And we can talk about not only the whitefish, we might talk about the lobster, we might talk about nearly all species. We know today that most nations in the OECD are using around 50% of each fish. The rest is thrown and used for landfill. Icelanders are up to 80% now, and we want to go up to 100%. Why? Mainly because these proteins of the oceans are sustainable, natural, and traceable. And they are not going to increase in the future. This is what we have of the proteins in the world, and we can provide to the world much more of the natural proteins. So just to give you an example of what Icelanders are basically doing with the fish today, if you take the fish fillet itself, it gives us for a 10-pounder of a whitefish around, let's say, $12. If we, as we are aiming in Iceland, instead of having the $12 alone, we might go to a $20 to $30 per piece of whitefish with different products. And this is really important because this might actually fit into all countries, not necessarily the high-end countries that are with the developed fishing industry. We have products that are both fairly sort of simple, like canning of products, but we have also products that are high-end. I'll tell you a little bit about that. But we're actually saying we are catching today 22 million caughts, Atlantic caughts each year, and instead of taking only the $12 per piece, we are aiming to do $30. And this actually is quite important because this can lead to a stronger industry and therefore stronger harbors and the stronger coastal areas. So we feel quite often that there is this lack of optimism in an industry that has such potentials in various countries in the world, but we think that in many ways there is just this opportunity missed. People are just taking it as for granted that we can't use the whole fish, and also becoming steadily using more of the fish and then moving up the value ladder. I want to take examples. Fish skin is one example. Fish skin is something that's basically used for landfill in most of the OECD countries, so it's actually thrown, no one is using it. Icelanders take this fish skin, and first we do shoes and clothing. We take it and tan it, and we create leather from it. And what I wanted to give you an example. First, if you throw it away, you have to pay in many countries for the disposal of the skin. If you take it and create leather, you might be up to nearly $50 per kilo for the fish skin. If we take it further and do fish collagen from it, which is now being done in Iceland, we can make around $15 per kilo for the fish collagen protein. If we take it even further and we do retail products from the collagen, we might be up to $120 per kilo for the collagen, for the fish skin. And the highest we can do is now the fish skin that is treated as wound care. So actually we can use fish skin for skin supplement. And this piece that you see there is only as small as it seems, but today it's worth more than 4 or 5 fillets in American hospitals today. So certainly we are seeing lots of. Just to give you an example of how it is done, so it's basically the burn wound, the fish skin is actually applied, and then the skin heals with the fish skin. So human skin heals with fish skin. It just shows us the opportunities that we have with the seafood industry to do more with the fish than we've done so far. And this has very much to do with these magnificent speeches that we've heard today about the revitalizing of the harbors. Because what of course we want to do with the harbors is to bring back some of the industry in this form, whether it is the marketers or the product designers or pharmacists or what have you, people that can actually join forces to do new things with these products that we have on hand. What we did in Iceland was to create the private cluster, which is called the Iceland Ocean Cluster in 2011. The aim of this cluster was basically to create value from the industry. We have never been supported by government. It is a pure private enterprise. So what we did to begin with was basically to map all the partners that might be involved with our ocean industry. It's more than fish there, but we have focused very much on everything that has to do with seafood, as I told you before. Of course, we have few partners in some of these bubbles, but in others we are really big. Fisheries is, of course, one of our biggest. Ocean technology, we have some of the leading ocean technology companies in the world in terms of seafood processing technology, and I could go on, so on. But the idea is basically to bring these folks together. What has been so amazing for me, whether I'm visiting the US or many European countries, we will find so often that there is no connection between universities and industry. I'm always remembering that when I was in the US in a brilliant university there, I met a professor that had outstanding ideas to take shells from crustacean shells and create energy from them. And I said to this professor, this is absolutely magnificent idea. Have you spoken to the industry? How many have you spoken to? He had never spoken to the industry. And this is the problem. I am myself coming from academia. That's how the cluster became real. I was doing my PhD work on how companies and especially entrepreneurs, how they network. And I found out that in these natural resource industries, they tend to network less because the limited resources are there, and you tend to keep the limited resources for yourself. Sorry. So basically what I'm saying is that we can do much more with an industry that we sometimes are telling ourselves is not really thriving. This is the value pyramid, and this is the key to the success of the seafood industry in the future. We have been able to now set up a facility at the Reykjavik harbor in Iceland, where we have 3,000 square meters, are expanding next year. We have 70 companies there, and even Icelanders didn't believe it in the beginning. They said there are not that many companies that are in this, that are sort of doing byproducts, etc. Since then, we've seen massive amounts of interest, and there's a waiting list now. In a small society like ours, there's a waiting list. And the key here is to link the students and the investors and the authorities with the industry as a whole, and by that try to sort of enlighten the industry as well. Make them more interested in taking these products further and do more with it, because we can double and triple or more the value of the industry. And the industry, of course, being the seafood industry. So a few examples of the success stories that we have already on hand. First is Codland. Codland was basically an idea that we were working with when we were bringing together the industry people. We had a group of industry people that were talking about the problems, the opportunities that they had. The key here was to have the industry people with us. We wanted people that were in business. They are so demanding. They don't want the meetings. They are not really excited for the conferences. They want the real stuff. So we had to bring them in by saying we want to do something real. So they thought to themselves, if we can do something like proteins from the oceans with the byproducts that we're not using that much, that would be interesting. So we established the Codland company called Codland with one mission, which was to use all parts of the fish. And it's been quite successful. It's now owned by 4 of the largest fisheries in Iceland, and this is some of the products that they are actually making. And they are, just to give an example, the plan is to take 400 metric tons of collagen or 4,000 metric tons of fish skin, creating 400 metric tons of collagen, and the kilo should be around $13 to $15 per kilo. So these are significant amounts, significant opportunities, not only in Iceland, but of course in various other countries, where I only think the mindset is the missing part. There is not this belief in the future of the seafood industry. We can change that. I was really pleased this morning to have an opportunity to meet with the Korean Marine Institute, where they are inspired by the clustering idea, the idea of clustering people, clustering ideas, and I hope we'll see some progress in that here in the near future. Another example that I want to take is actually a group that was formed. These companies you won't know, these are small companies in Iceland, all focused on tech, some ocean tech, mainly fisheries technology, but also boat technology. We brought them together to form what's called the Green Marine Technology. And the basic idea here is still to make sure that these people realize the strength of being together. From coastal region, trying to collaborate has been the key to the success of the fishing industry and the tech industry related to the fishing industry in Iceland. The third example that I want to take are cucumbers. This is just an example where we had fishermen that were successful in the industry, but we lacked parts in the value chain to make things happen, make change. So what happened is leaders there brought with them people that were into research and development, people that know really well technology, brought in all these parts that were needed to take this industry further. And by that, they wanted to emphasize on sustainability, quality, and low environmental impact. And just to give you an example, what has happened since is that this collaboration has led to both less discards, less cost, less waste in this industry. On the other hand, more accuracy, more quality, more efficiency. So we have all these opportunities if we just focus on them, if we realize the opportunities to get the academics and the business people and the startups to work together. We have this opportunity to create all kinds of new values from products that are wasted today, and in an industry that still is defined as an industry that is a little bit on the upward steep. What we are doing now is to build a network. We've already set up a similar 2 clusters in the US, in Massachusetts and in Maine. We are hopefully going to open a cluster in Seattle and in the Pacific Northwest of the US. We have been in talks with others about this idea of making sure that we can share ideas. This platform is absolutely great for such, and I must say that that's one of the big reasons that I attend conferences like these. They're always interesting ideas, sharing of contacts, sharing of ideas. So I was just handing out some names of startups in the marine industry to a friend that was here from yesterday's talks on startups. So we see this happen already. So we want to continue to work with this network to make sure that we can create value. But the main thing for all of us, I think, is to realize that in the seafood industry that so many have sort of deemed obsolete in the coming years, there are major opportunities to create lots of opportunities, lots of value, and quite many jobs for coastal areas that I think will be of value. So please, if there are any questions afterwards, don't hesitate. Thank you so much.